I can't tell you how disappointed I am that Albert Brochland, who is Erling Haaland's cousin, does not develop very well after this 5-year simulation. When in real life, he really does look like the real deal. This time he looks very mediocre. Thankfully though, I have found about 20 names that most definitely have developed absolutely incredibly. One of them being Gavi. Of course, Barcelona have started using him in real life. This is what he looks like in 5 years' time. We're in the year 2026. He does look good. He doesn't look amazing. Maybe not as good as what people would expect Gavi to be. However, I have seen him in the alpha slightly better than this. So I must say that it's peaks and troughs. And that is mainly because he could have a fixed potential, but more likely he has a potential range. And what that is, basically, every single wonder kid or young player in the game has a potential or a potential range. They tend to have a potential range the younger they are, and that basically means they could be anywhere in between that potential range every time you load the game. So if, for example, they have a potential range of 170 to 200, every time you load the game, it will be a number between one of those two. 200 is, of course, the highest a player can be. So, for example, this Gavi could be a potential range of 180. I might have seen him at the higher end of the spectrum beforehand, and this one might be down the lower end, the 150 for example. And of course, whether they actually reach their potential all depends on their development, whether they get the most game time, the hidden attributes that they have, they're sometimes variable as well, injuries and even facilities for example. So in this instance, Gavi, this is what he looks like at the start of the game. He might develop differently every single time I simulate 5 seasons, and he will also look differently every single time I start a new game. He does, however, look absolutely incredible for a 16-year-old on this game. Next up on the list is probably one of my favourite ones, Benjamin Sesko, 18-year-old Slovenian. He plays at Salzburg at the start of the game. He does have a fairly high value considering he is 18 years of age and we can't quite see how much he will cost. He does look quite good, however, for 18. But my word, does he look amazing in 5 years' time, and he's 6'4". So this guy has literally just turned out to be an absolute elite striker, as media description has described it. Slovenian, 23, and he is immense. Like, physicals, all of them are green. All of them are 15 or higher, and they all look fantastic. Not to mention the great off the ball, good vision, and he has decent passing as well, so he'll probably set up a few goals to be honest. I love the anticipation, the composure, decision making as well. That's amazing. Of course, the technicals, 16s and 15s, where you want him to see. And he's 6'5". 6'5". He is just going to score so many goals. It's going to be unbelievable. Man City bought him for £60 million. And only played him for 2 games, which worries me. But he did score 15 in 15 for Salzburg as they signed him. Why aren't they playing him? They need to play him more because he would be amazing. Arguably one of the best strikers I've found on this game. 6'5". Now I thought we'd take a look at this Italian goalkeeper, Marco Kanaseki. At the age of 21, on loan from Atalanta, does have a fairly decent value considering how good he looks at his current ability. However, I think he has a very high potential because, good lord, look at this. So how nice does Marco actually develop at the age of 25? We can see he's really commanding, like he's fantastic, great reflexes, good agility. There's no weaknesses, to be honest. Maybe position is only 14, but he's still only 25. He still has like 10 years at the top of his game. He finds himself at Hertha Berlin as well, and that might be an ongoing theme. Only £15 million that they bought him for from Atalanta, and he does seem like he was their main goalkeeper. Only conceding 26 goals in 30 appearances, 12 clean sheets in the Serie A. That's impressive. Now, giveaway opportunity for you to win the Football Manager 2022 version for free. All you have to do is comment down below Omega, Beta, and I'll pick somebody at random who has commented that by the end of the weekend. I didn't think we'd show a player from Burnley, but we have Nathan Collins. He's Irish, 20 years of age. He has a high value. Burnley obviously rate him fairly highly. He gets better. Somehow, Nathan Collins is still at Burnley in 5 years' time. Maybe Burnley are world beaters. He's 25 now, and he actually looks phenomenal, to be honest. He is 6'5" as well, so like Sesko, really tall player. But he still has the physicals, which maybe some 6'5" centre-backs don't really have. He's still fast. He still has 12 agility. The balance is great. Obviously, he has great jumping reach. The natural fitness and stamina we know is massively important. Whether you see that as important On a defender, I still see it as important, but the fundamentals, the heading, marking, tackling, he has it. He has a decent first touch, which is important as well. Great leadership. Great positioning. You can see it with your own eyes. I'm just telling you how impressive this actually is. And I'm really impressed. And even in the Premier League, he's getting 7 ratings for Burnley. That is very good. Now, I very much doubt none of you are any strangers to Jamal Mussiala. He was fantastic last year. Of course, he's broke into the scene in real life for Bayern Munich. And at the start of the game, he looks like one of the best kind of centre attacking midfielders that you'll probably find, and he's only 18. Of course, it's very hard to get him away from Bayern Munich, but should you do that, you're probably laughing. Already, he has some amazing physicals, and that dribbling of 17, flair of 18. There's a lot to like about Jamal Mussiala, not to mention he can play in natural position across the attacking midfield line. 5 years time though, let's see. Hey, I wasn't kidding when I said about Jamal Mussiala already looking fantastic before he developed, but 5 years time is just bonkers, really. It's the only word I can think about it. A lot of greens. There's just so many greens, and he just looks like one of the best players in the world, really. And it doesn't surprise me. 23 years of age, and he's one of the best players in the world. He's still at Bayern Munich, and he seems like he's broke into the first team properly. And like 19 goals for Bayern Munich, a 7.52 average rating, and he's probably not playing up front. He might be, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't look like he was. And to get 19 goals when he's not really a penalty taker, 13. So he's probably scoring that from that attacking midfielder role, or he's playing out on the wing. Either way, 19 goals is mental. Now, one of my favourite Wonderkids last year, Yeremy Pino, 18 years of age, broke out into the Villarreal team in the previous season, and he does play naturally on both wings. He does start off with really good current ability too, so for 18 years of age, if you can pick him up for around about that £20 million mark, you're going to be laughing. He does seem to have a very high potential. I don't know why, but not a lot of players seem to be leaving the clubs, but Yeremy Pino, again, he stayed at Villarreal, and his value now 53 to 160 million pounds. So if you did pick him up at the start of the game for whatever price he was, you're probably going to make a lot of money on him, because he does look absolutely fantastic. Those physicals are great. I mean, the technicals, he's just really good as a winger or an inside forward, because of course he has that 15 finishing, but 18 dribbling is so tricky. Like, flair could be a little bit higher, if I'm honest, but passing, vision, or 15 or above, technique is great. Yeah, I actually really like Yeremy Pino again this year, and I don't know what side I prefer him on. Maybe as that winger. I think I really like him as the winger on the right-hand side. Now, another blast from the past of last year, Arson Zakarian, 18-year-old Russian from Dynamo Moscow. We've seen how well he played in the shadow striker role last year, so what I was really interested in was, in 5 years' time, does he have very similar traits in that shadow striker role? He's very likable, this guy, and I think he actually looks better at 18 years of age as what he did at the start of last year's game. So hotly anticipated for 5 years time. Now, although I don't think the shadow striker role is the perfect role for Arson Zakarian after looking at him 5 years in the future, not to say he cannot play it. He still has that 13 finishing, good composure, anticipation slightly lower. Physicals look great though, but mentally he looks a lot better than what he was last year, and I think he's improved with the passing and the vision, which is something I can definitely get behind if you are going to play him in that attacking midfielder role. Say, for example, as an advanced playmaker or as an attacking midfielder instead of the shadow striker. I still think he could be very dangerous. He also finds himself at Hertha in this save, £11.5 million. They seem to just be snapping up all of these Wonderkids that I'm mentioning. 10 goals he scored in 33 appearances. I mean, I've got the Bundesliga loaded, so we can kind of see what's been going on. Bayern have been dominating it, but Hertha's third now, so Hertha's kind of making sure they're stamping their authority there in the top 4. Let's take a look at a centre-back. Ilya Zabarny, an 18-year-old Ukrainian centre-back, and I think a lot of people actually told me about this guy at the end of last season, that he could be a future Wonderkid because of how much actual game time he's been playing. So any Ukrainians or people who follow Ukrainian football, let me know about that. He has some absolutely outstanding attributes for a starting centre-back, and he's only 18. Now, he does of course have some weaknesses, like position 13, marking of 13. That's still better than a lot, to be honest, and he is 6'2". How does he look in 5 years' time, you being asking? And so he finds himself at Manchester City, interestingly enough, 23 years of age now. Now, some of his technicals I thought might have been slightly higher. However, he does have a lot of greens, and definitely physically, he looks very good. In fact, he looks fantastic physically. Only 14s in balance and fitness, the rest is 15s or above. And of course, when you're looking at like pace for a 6'3" centre-back, then you're really happy with that, aren't you? And like good strength, good jumping reads. If only he had the good heading ability and marking, then maybe we'd be saying this is one of the best centre-backs on the game. I think there's a better one, and we might either see him today or tomorrow. I think it's going to be tomorrow's video, so make sure you are looking at that video. Now, when I glanced at the alpha version, this was the guy that stood out to me the most. And when I did the Wonderkid videos, this is the guy I was excited to show you the most, Seiko Mara. So I obviously have to show you what he's like after 5 years' time, because I'm very pleased to say it was good. Now, I'm really glad I decided to show you Seiko Mara after 5 years, because, yeah, he looks great. Probably one of the best strikers that we'll find on this game as like a new striker. This was someone that wasn't on last year's game that I remember being good anyway. The light speed offside trap will definitely help with the physical attributes that he has. I just wish he had slightly better off the ball. But technically, he's fantastic as that striker. He's 6 foot with good heading ability, so he'll probably score a few goals from headers. 13 anticipation's okay. Bravery is decent for 13 for a striker. I'd like to see it slightly higher. I think they score more goals with a higher bravery. What do you think about that, by the way? But yeah, good determination, good composure, a lot of 15s, a lot to like about Seiko Mara. He's actually having a really good season, but they have been relegated, so I'm actually shocked that he's still there. 20 goals in 38 appearances in League. We're going to stay in France because Monaco have Aurélien Tchouameni. I've probably butchered the first part of the name, but I think I've nailed the second. He's 21. He's a centre midfielder. He has so many great attributes at the start of the game, even in 2021. In 2026, however, he is world class. Yes, world class indeed. Tchouameni is like the Ilyas Mariba of last year. I don't know what his potential is, of course. We won't see that until the editor. But what a player. Like, genuinely what a player. He was good last year. He was nowhere near this good. This is phenomenal. Why is he still doing it at Monaco as well? Like, that should have changed by now. He's playing every single game. Like, 7.42 for an average rating for 9 goals and 5 assists. He is outstanding. Such a talented player. If you can get your hands on Tchouameni, do it. He looks like one of the best midfielders on the game. So don't forget, comment down below, Omega Beta, if you want to win yourself a copy of the game. Check out this video of the must-buys of Football Manager 2022, and tomorrow there will be 10 more of these players 5 years in the future. See you then.